And speaking of pay-per-views and quality comparisons, why don't we take a look at NXT's TakeOver Part 2 and then compare that to pretty much any WWE pay-per-view that we've seen over the past year, or at least since WrestleMania. I have got to say that what I saw during TakeOver was, I have to say it was TNA worthy. It was action like you usually would expect from a TNA pay-per-view. And this makes me wonder why WWE cannot live up to the standard that NXT is apparently setting. NXT's pacing and, basically level of action in pretty much every way, quality, everything about this pay-per-view was what WWE's pay-per-views used to be. And it was nothing but action throughout, and everything that wasn't action was actually entertaining. Go figure. Basically, it seems like whoever is pulling the strings at NXT needs to go back over to WWE and say, hey guys, this is what you're doing wrong, and this is what you need to do to fix it. Well, looking up and down the card of NXT, you would think that, okay, the matches, even the matches that a lot of people thought weren't going to go over and weren't going to be any good, people, the ones that people didn't seem to be interested in, they still went over with the fans. And if only WWE Raw would have an audience like, well, I'm not even going to attribute this to the audience. I'm going to attribute this to the product, to the overall product. NXT is just better than what WWE is offering. WWE is really, 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 really bad right now. If their quote-unquote training camp is getting over better than what's going on the main roster, then there's definitely something wrong, and this entire organization is upside down. Something is going entirely wrong, and whoever is in charge of I was told, somebody told me that Vince is still in charge. Vince McMahon is still pretty much running the show, is still pulling the strings on Raw and SmackDown, and Triple H is actually in charge of NXT. And honestly, it kind of shows. It shows that the aging guy that doesn't get it, that is kind of out of touch with what's going on today and what people want, that he's still running the flagship television shows, and Triple H, who is the guy who's supposed to be ushering in the future of WWE, is lending all of his expertise and knowledge and wisdom and whatnot to NXT. And well, now we see what the deal is. If it's true that Vince is still pulling the strings on Raw and SmackDown, if he really is still behind those two shows and Triple H is in charge of NXT, then it kind of makes sense. But otherwise, I really can't wrap my brain around why NXT has outperformed WWE in terms of pay-per-views. I mean, if this last thing that we saw, if this last takeover is any indication, WWE is in serious trouble. They need to reevaluate what they're doing and figure out, what can they do to change this. I mean, even the women in NXT. I mean, I sincerely hope they never become divas, because we all know how WWE likes to ruin the women that come in as divas. We all see the silence that the divas come into week after week after week, and the silence during their matches, and the silence, the only cheers they get are at the end when the crowd is like, it's finally over. They're cheering for the fact that the Divas match is over. That's just shameful, but apparently someone at the top in WWE doesn't see this. Well, on NXT, the women, oh my god, they put together one hell of a match. I never thought I'd say this about any WWE product that is put on by women, but the NXT women did. I didn't expect much out of Bayley, but she was a Hellcat, and Charlotte, she outlived my expectations. So, and that match went on for a good long time, and this was a TNA knockouts level match. Yes, I said it. I don't care. You can all go to Impact and check out what the knockouts are doing. Then go back to go back to Takeover 2 and look at what Charlotte and Bayley did, and tell me that the Divas even compare to either of those two, because they don't. Now, and this is just an example of what we're seeing happen, between WWE pay-per-views and NXT pay-per-views. I mean, the main event, oh my god, I can't even tell you. I can't even say enough about it. The let's see, Enzo Amore and Big Cass. I am an advocate for them, and I'm gonna cut a promo later for this because I really think that they deserve to be called up. Raw is in desperate need of that kind of entertainment, and those guys, they got the rap down. They've got they are totally over with the fans. Anything that they do, everything that they do would totally translate, would totally, make the transition over to Raw, and this is what needs to happen. So, anyway, as far as the pay-per-views go, again, NXT has kicked the ass of WWE with Takeover Part 2. And if WWE doesn't get their shit together, it's going to continue on this way. If they don't figure out how to lift the quality of their pay-per-views past, past glorified Raw episode status, then NXT is going to continue to outshine the main roster, and these problems are going to continue.